You think they figured anything out defensively? Because Toronto's, especially their bench, was so good offensively from the perimeter, and Washington was terrible in closing out on those shooters. But they were much better in games 3 and 4. But I don't know. Maybe it's the home court advantage. I mean, Toronto was, 34-7 in that building for a reason. So they obviously feed off that energy. But maybe the Wizards figured something out. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely some tweaks that they've made. About the first game and a half of the series, they were really aggressive on the ball screen actions, particularly with DeRozan, bringing 2 to him. And he was getting the ball out of his hands quickly, which meant Toronto had numbers out of that pick-and-roll action, and they were getting open threes out of it. So 16 threes in Game 1, 11 threes in the first half of Game 2. And then they went to more switching at the second half, really about halfway through the third quarter, Game 2. And that kept the integrity of their defense and, enabled them to give up less three-point shots. And I think that certainly helped with their defense. But more than anything, I think just their pace was a lot better in Game 3 and 4, pushing the basketball more, getting easy opportunities, and really some of our guys just played better. I mean, Bradley wasn't very good in Games 1 and 2, and he was excellent in Games 3 and 4. March wasn't very good in Games 1 and 2. He was good. Kelly Oubre was much better defensively in Games 3 and 4. So some of it was just a function of guys playing better at home. Hopefully they can carry that over tonight.
Kara, how does Otto get more involved? Only averaging 8 attempts per game in this series. He scored 12 twice, 8 in another game, and 9 in another. How do we get him out of this 8 or 9 attempts per game range? Do we see that going forward?
Yeah, see, this is a really hard thing because what Toronto's trying to do is they're trying to stay home on shooters, and they're trying to not let Washington's catch-and-shoot guys get open looks. And that's what Otto is. Otto mostly is a catch-and-shoot guy. You're not going to see him breaking down defenses like you see John doing or like you see Bradley doing. So when John drives or there's a ball screen in the middle of the floor, Toronto's not helping from Washington shooters. They're allowing John to get an open look, or they're allowing an open look. And that's different from most of the coverages that they saw all regular season, where Otto would be able to cut in the weak side or Otto would be able to get a driving kick 3. So it's to generate more offense for Otto, to answer your question, it's got to come from different ways. Like transition is a way that Otto can get going if Washington gets stops or if Washington's able to force turnovers. Offensive rebounding is a way Otto can get going. And then his normal ways where he gets weak side cuts or where he's able to get a catch and shoot. But it's different. That's what Toronto's choosing to take away. And I don't know if you take away catch and shoots for Otto that he's going to be able to generate 12 or 14 field goal attempts. That's just not his game. So I agree. I mean, it would be nice to see Otto get a 24, 25-point game. We'll see. But that's a clear line in the sand that Toronto's trying to draw to not give him too many looks.
Joined by Kara Lawson, the voice of the Wizards on NBC Sports Washington. We had a couple callers wondering about Thomas Satoransky, and what I said is flat out, Lawson's better than him. What's your take on how Lawson, who comes over from China, is getting kind of the bench minutes, which aren't a ton because John's playing the majority at point, over Satoransky?
Yeah, I mean, every series is different, and the playoffs are different. And I think Sato's had a terrific year. What Washington needs in this series off the bench is someone, when John's out, that can break down the defense, that has the quickness, that can get into the lane and create, because of all those things I talked about how they're staying home at shooters. And so I think that's why Scott Brooks has gone with Lawson in that capacity, because of his ability to break people down. Also, in this series, size or lack of size is not an issue for the backup point guard, because Toronto's guards are small as well. Lowry, Van Vliet hasn't played obviously that much this series, but you're not worried that Ty's not that big. And for Sato, he's a guy. He's a ball mover. He can knock down the 3-point shot, but he's not necessarily going to break you down. And I think that's what Washington needs more of in this series with with them staying home on 3-point shooters. So, it's a part of it. It's a rotation, and it's something that I think has been the right call by Scott Brooks. Even though Shadow's had a great year, I think it's been the right call because of what Ty can provide.
Do you feel like the Wizards have to win tonight to win the series?
I don't. No, I don't. I feel like, I remember coming home after Game 2, and all I was thinking was, gosh, they're really good. Toronto's really good. Okay, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. But I just sure wish that the Wizards would be able to provide a little bit of game pressure and a little bit of series pressure in order to see how they are, see how good they are. Because when you make a number 1 seed feel pressure, sometimes they crack. And here's a team that represents not just the city guys, but an entire country.